Tip number one, the Henri sales technique. Now, I have been a fan of Henri Compton for years, big fan of his work, big fan of the way he sells books and the numbers that this dude sells. He sells out thousands of books at cons week after week after week. Dude sells the kind of numbers that everybody wants to sell. So I've been telling this guy for a year now that I wanted to apprentice him, man. I'd go to a show with him. I would haul books, whatever he needed, go get him lunch, whatever, just so I could sit around and watch this dude sell books and learn from him. So when we found out we're going to be at C2E2 together, I got to hang out with him. I got to interview him for the awards that we were at. And he was nice enough to be like, hey, dude, take a seat, hang out. You can watch what I do. Man, we can hang out for a while. So I spent a good portion, a couple of hours every day. I sat there watching this man sell, and I learned a whole lot of things about how he sold books and how different it was from the way I sold books. And we'll go over some of those points. The first difference between me and Henri, I'm very loud. I'm very, hey, how you doing? You know what? You like indie comics? You got to come check out my books. Like, I'm very carnival barker. Henri's very quiet. He stands out in front of his booth the whole time. He's standing up almost all day long, standing out there quietly watching people walk by. If somebody makes eye contact or is giving him a long look at his table or something and checking it out, he'll very calmly say, hey, would you like to hear about my books? And if they say yes, this is one of the keys to the technique. It's the turn. He'll turn you around so that you're looking at his table now. And so now it's nothing but you and him. Your backs are to the big crazy con. You're looking at his table and all of his books laid out. And he'll pick up a stack of his books that's already in order. And then he'll start his pitch. Now, tip 2 about the way he does his pitch that is brilliant is he talks quietly. Now, I tend to be very loud at cons, and I'm a loud guy anyway. Henri gets very quiet. Now, what's the point of that? It makes you have to draw in close to listen. It's a big noisy con going on, so you got to get close and pay attention. So now it's just you and him tucked in close, sharing this secret. And then he pulls up a stack of his books that he's already got stacked up in order so he can grab all 4 issues of his first book, and he pulls it up, and then he flips through it for you as he's giving you the short Ginsu knife pitch. He's giving you like the 1-sentence pitch about what this book is. Like for The Mighty Caw, it would be, this is The Mighty Caw. It is an R-rated love letter to Saturday morning cartoons. It is a hyper-violent bird barbarian from outer space killing his way across the galaxy. It is nothing but bloody fun. Quick, easy, to the point. If they're interested in that, they're going to ask more questions. Quick Ginsu knife pitch. And then he goes into the price. Now, his books are $3, which is why I've repriced this whole video about that. And he can say, all right, these books, they're $3 a piece, but if you buy all 4 right now, I'll give them to you for $10. That's a $2 discount. Right there, you've got a deal. $10, you get 4. That's awesome. Why wouldn't you jump at that? And because he gets his books offset press printed and he gets them in big numbers and he spends good money to get a whole lot of books shipped to him and stores a big stockpile of books and stuff, it's not for everybody. But because he does that, he can sell them at crazy deals, which brings it down to the what the heck price. And that got so many more sales and got so many of those what the heck or so many of those, oh yeah, that's a good deal sales. When I tried that out at the con, oh brother, I'll tell you about that in a second. So he does that quick little pitch. He flips through the book. He tells you the deal. And then he goes into the little bit of the Ginsu knife. But wait, there's more. He's like, if you get this and you get this, you can get it for that price. If you get this and this, you can get it for that price. Worked wonders. So I applied this when I went to Nashville. I stood up in front of the table and everything, and I was using some other tricks that I had picked up at the show, and I got a couple of hits, made a couple of sales. And then I sat down at the table, and the sales started coming. And I realized that while standing out in front of the table works really well for a lot of guys, and it works really well for Henri, it doesn't work for me because I'm nearly 6.5 feet tall and 300 pounds. I'm a big giant guy, and I just didn't realize how intimidating I can be. I forget that I'm not the same size as everybody else. So once I sat down behind the table, people started coming up left and right and checking out the books, and I started making sales. So the standing in front of the table didn't work for me. Your results may vary. Like it worked really well for him. I totally get it. I wish I could do it. I'm too big. It doesn't work for me. Keeping a stockpile of the books stacked up in front of me in order, like I had them in order, book 1, 2, 3, whatever, that worked really great. I had a stack of all of my books up there so I could flip through all of them and I could tell you, okay, this is what The Mighty Cause about, this is what Green Zone's about, and I made a deal. I tweaked his a little bit. What he did, he would make the sale, and while he would be signing the books, he's like, hey, while I'm signing these, would you like to sign up for the newsletter? And give them the opportunity to sign up for the newsletter. I had my laptop up, had it pulled up to the page and everything, and I'm going to make a video about this because I made a whole thing for this. I made the deal contingent on, and if you sign up for my free newsletter today, you can get all of these books for $20, which was like 6 books for $20. It was a book free, essentially. And when I made that deal, I had people that didn't even read comics say, oh, $20, that's too good of a deal. Yeah, I got to take that. And they would sign up for the newsletter and they'd buy all 20 books and I would sign them and they'd be like, yeah, oh, well, my husband likes comic books and my brother likes comics. I'm sure I can find somebody that'll read them. They just bought it because it was a good freaking deal, not because they were hardcore comic book fans. But somebody's going to get to read those books. Maybe they will become a fan of mine. Maybe they'll come back and buy more. Who knows? But it made me sales that I never would have made at my higher prices. That absolutely worked well. I have restructured everything that I'm doing now, and all the rest of my books are going to be offset press printed from now on because the way I sell books, it works out, and this upped the number of sales so much. Having the books in a stack like this, the way Henri does, so that I'm the one flipping through them and showing them off, that worked amazingly. That kept the con-goer buys from tearing up a book. Usually I would have a sample of each book out there for people to flip through and thumb through, and those books would be all raggedy and destroyed by the end of the con. This way, it's me flipping through it. I had one set that I flipped through all weekend. It was still in great shape. I ended up selling it because I ran out of books and I needed the books that were in there. It never got tore up because I was the one flipping through it. I had them all there. I would sign them and I had the deal, like, you get them all for $20 if you sign up for the newsletter. If they didn't want to sign up for the newsletter, then it was $25. I had probably 10 people buy them for $5 extra just because they didn't want to sign up for the newsletter. Sure, I'll take an extra $5, no problem. It worked so well. It was amazing. And at the time, I had just signed a deal. I had just signed a contract to get 4 issues of this printed because after talking with Henri, it was just too good of a deal. I had to follow his example. And so all of the money from the fundraiser for Caw 3 and 4 went into doing a big print run of all 4 books. They're on their way now. They'll be here hopefully in a couple of weeks. After the show and selling everything at these new prices just to see how it went in Nashville and try it out, I made so many more sales. And yeah, all the sales were for less money than they were when I was charging twice as much for the books. But I made so many more sales, and the show was so similar. Nashville was so similar to our local show that I made more in the first day than I normally make all weekend at the other show. And that's usually doing caricatures and all kinds of other stuff. I didn't do any of that nonsense. I was just slinging books the whole time. If the show had been a little bigger or a little busier, I probably could have tripled or quadrupled that profit. I'm absolutely looking forward to doing all of this stuff at every show from now on. This is how I'm going to be doing stuff. That's the first tip that I had, the Henri sales technique. I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions, ask them and I'll do my best to answer them in the comments. Stay tuned for the other tips that I picked up. Your Uncle Fishy loves you.